Okay, right. Okay, so hopefully you found the presentations on topic 1 useful. What I want us to move on to now from your notes is topic 2. Okay, and what I want to get across in this presentation is markets. The gist of this topic is how we go about allocating resources. Now, what you should be aware of is that there are two major different ways of allocating resources. We can either do it using the equality approach. Here, government owns all assets and they tend to dish them out equally. That is what we call a command economy. Now, what we're going to focus on in topic 2 is what a free market economy does. So in other words, how the free market mechanism decides to allocate resources. Now let's think very quickly first of all about what we mean by a market. Okay? Now a market is a situation where buyers and sellers come together for the purpose of trade. A buyer in a market clearly wants to buy goods and services to satisfy their wants and needs. A seller, a business in effect, will want to make profit in order to enable them to buy other things in different markets to satisfy their own wants and needs. So we've got these two people that come together in a marketplace. What I think you should be aware of at this stage is a sub-market as well. Here we break down whole market into distinct categories. So for example, if we were looking at the housing market, sub-markets of this market could be the value of different houses. It could be the size of houses, the location of houses, whether they're rural, urban, in the north or in the south. It could be the type of house. Are they detached, semi-detached, a flat, a bungalow? Some properties are age specific. So clearly we have lots of different smaller markets within bigger markets. Now what I want to bring in now is the concept of demand and supply. And this is crucial for understanding what we mean by a free market economy. The people that demand goods and services are clearly the buyers, the people buying goods and services. Supply is the people selling goods and services. These are the businesses. For a market to be successful, we need both demanders or buyers and suppliers or sellers. Let's think about the definition of these two different concepts first of all. It's very important that you're very specific with your definitions. Demand is the number of people who are willing and able to buy goods and services at different price levels at a given period of time. Supply is the number of goods and services a business is willing and able to supply at different prices at a given period of time. That definition needs to be concrete if you are to pick up the marks on it. Let me just highlight the important parts of that definition. Willing and able, different prices, given period of time. Okay? If you're going to be part of a market as a buyer or a demander, you've got to be both willing and able to buy a particular product. Able, can you afford it, is in effect what we're looking at here. Willing, do you actually want to buy it or not? It is possible to be able but not willing. So for example, I would consider myself as a stereotypical Yorkshireman. I'm quite tight. I'm able to buy lots of different goods and services, but I choose not to. I'm not willing to buy them. Clearly, some people are willing to buy things like Ferraris, mansions, foreign holidays, but unfortunately, they're not able to. Same for a supplier. They got to be both willing and able to supply a product at a certain price level. If they're able to, well, clearly it's because they can make a profit from it. They can produce a good or a service. Are they willing to? Does it offer a high enough return for them or not? Next part of these definitions, different prices. We'll look at this along a supply and demand diagram in a minute or two. And it must be at a given period of time. So it's a snapshot in time of how many people and how many businesses are willing and able to buy and sell a product. Now let's think about how we can show this on a graph. What I'm going to start building up here is a demand and supply diagram. Vertical axis, we have price. Horizontal axis, we have quantity. Let's look first of all at a demand line, which we'll label with a D. So what this shows is as price falls, demand for a product will increase. Think about why that is. Lower the price, more people are able to buy, but as the price goes down, even I might be willing to buy a product at a lower price. So let's take one example along this line. If we're at P1, people will buy Q1 of the product. If price falls to P2, demand will increase to Q2. This is what we call an extension in demand. As price falls, people are willing and able to buy more of the product. Let's look very quickly at the reverse of that. If this time price increased up to P1, so it went from P2 to P1, demand would fall from Q2 to Q1. This is what we call a contraction in demand. So as price falls and demand increases, we have an extension. The reverse of this, as price increases, demand falls, we have a contraction. Let's very quickly look at a supply diagram. Again, we have price and quantity on the axes. This time though, supply is upward sloping. This time we have a positive relationship between price and quantity. Let's think about why that is. As the price increases, the potential to make profit increases. That will mean that businesses are now more willing and able to supply a product. Again, let's take a particular point. P1, Q1. As price increases to P2, supply of the product goes up to Q2. Businesses willing and able to supply more. This is an extension in supply. Price increases, quantity supplied will also increase. Let's imagine this time that price fell from P2 to P1 and quantity fell from Q2 to Q1. Clearly this time supply will fall. Less chance to make profit means less businesses are willing and able to provide this product. This will mean we have a contraction in supply. So what you've got there is the basic workings of demand and supply. What I'm going to do now is to rub off all this from the board so we can look at a market equilibrium diagram. I'll leave the definition of what a market is on the board because that will be useful for what we're about to try and draw. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to draw our axes, big this time. We've got price and we've got quantity. We've got our demand line, which shows our negative relationship between price and demand, i.e. price goes down, demand goes up, or as price goes up, demand goes down. And we have our supply line, positive relationship this time, so as price increases, as price increases, supply increases, or as price falls, supply falls. Now the interesting point on here is the point where demand is equal to supply. This is a magic point for us to be at. This star is our market equilibrium point. It's our clearing price. It's the point where demand is equal to supply. So when we have P1 in the market, the number of goods and services people are willing and able to buy is equal to the number of goods and services businesses are willing and able to supply. What this means is that we have no excess demand or no excess supply. To illustrate this point, let's imagine we set price at P2. At P2, demand is low at Q2, simply because the price is too high, people are not willing and able to buy it. However, at this high price, businesses got high potential to make profit, therefore provide Q3. We can clearly see that supply outstrips demand. This is what we call excess supply. Price will need to fall in order to bring about equilibrium. So if the business was to reduce price to P1, what would happen is we would have an extension in demand. As price falls, people are willing and able to buy more at Q1, and as price falls, we have a contraction in supply. Businesses willing and able to supply less of the product. Let's take another possibility. Let's imagine we set price at P3. We can see now that supply will be at Q2, demand will be at Q4. This time, because price is too low, more people are willing and able to buy the good at this price than businesses are willing and able to supply it. This time we have excess demand. And again, what needs to happen is the price this time will need to increase to clear the market. As price increases, we have an extension in supply. More businesses can see the potential to make profit, therefore supply increases. As price grows, less people are willing and able to buy it. We have a contraction in demand, and we restore equilibrium price at P1. So in a free market economy, we should achieve the equilibrium point, which in this case is P1, Q1.